Brian and Dave are both at RSA Security Conference in California this week. And Brian, who's a very dear friend of mine, asked me to stand in. And I told him, bravo, good for asking for help, and I just might shit my pants. But I'm really excited to see you guys here tonight. My name is Brooke Boyle. I'm the founder of a company called Engage. And I'm the first female host and co-organizer of A2 New Tech.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun for me to be up here tonight. I just signed a hashtag Founders for Change and committed that Engage will always reflect on diversity in the teams that we build, the advisors that we bring on board, and the partners that we work with. I'm super excited tonight to be able to put these founders in front of you and to be able to support them. A couple of fun facts. Since 2009, there have been more than 100 meetups through A2 New Tech. Over 300 companies have pitched, and there are almost 7,000 members of A2 New Tech. It's a big deal. In 2017, there were 12 meetups, 60 pitches, and 57 companies that presented. Tonight, we're doing something a little bit different. So one of the amazing things about New Tech is that it brings together a bunch of people with a bunch of different interests to support people who are looking to create and solve change that they recognize. And so I want to be able to recognize each of you, especially because at some point tonight, after the companies give their 5-minute pitch, you have 5 minutes of Q&A with them. And so what we wanted to do is, with the audience being as diverse as it is, being able to highlight what your interests are. And so one thing that Brian always does at the beginning is, who's new tonight? This is their first time at New Tech? Awesome, thank you. So in general, about half of the people who attend New Tech are new. Who's looking for a job or has talent that they want to share potentially with someone who? And then who's hiring? We've got a couple of those. So one of the things we're doing tonight is creating community with color. So when you walked in, and maybe you didn't see it because this is new, on the ends of the rows over here we've got some note cards and name tags, and an opportunity for you to put a sticker that corresponds with the color of the note card that you may have picked up. So whether you are sharing your talent or hiring for talent, if you're brand new, if you're an investor, or if you're just a startup enthusiast, there's an opportunity for you to kind of pick up that color. And when we move to Q&A, I'll actually ask you to raise that color in the air so that maybe I can actually be better at facilitating, hey, here's somebody who's brand new and has a question. Here's an investor who may be coming from a financial angle, and that actually kind of helps our founders anticipate the question that might be coming. So if you haven't had a chance and are willing to participate in that color game that's on the end of the road, please do that. And full disclosure, so I moved to Ann Arbor 4 years ago. I do not have a tech background. I'm a psychology major and a vocal performance person. I collect people and life experiences. So I'm up here because I care about the community of Ann Arbor. And I found a home in that with the tech community. And I was asked about a year ago to solve the problem of what's happening in Ann Arbor. Is this the place for me? And what's next? And so that is what Engage is. And that's why I think I'm up here, is to help kind of bring us all together tonight. So I'm really looking forward to being here and supporting the conversations and the dialogues that happen. We've got all the handles and the contact details that are up here tonight. If you want to tweet, we've got hashtag A2NewTech and at A2NewTech. If you want to find more about A2NewTech, it's there's an organization called Made in A2 where a lot of tech people kind of get together, founders and contributors. So madein2.com, and then, is that right? Yes, madein2.com, and then if you want to get into the private Slack channel, it's madein2.com/Slack. Thank yous to the Entrepreneurship Clinic at the UM Law School. Dana Thompson is the founding director of the Michigan Law Entrepreneurship Clinic. A2 Geeks, which is a nonprofit dedicated to making Southeast Michigan and Ann Arbor a great place for geeks and creatives to live, work, and play. Roger Rail is behind the camera and has this recorded, and he's here every month to do that. So huge thanks to Roger. We've got Doug Song, Zach Steinler. Is Zach here? I don't think so. Scott Goki, I saw him walk into the room. Scott, do you want to wave? There you are. David Bloom, the first organizer of New Tech. And then Pizza House. So Ann Arbor Spark is committed to bringing together organizations and individuals to support the growth of companies and the creation of jobs. They are also our sponsors for pizza tonight. So at some point I'll ask who's planning on going to pizza, and we'll gather afterwards for some of the conversation, and then that's when your name tag and your colors start to make a little bit more sense as we kind of figure out who's here. So the way tonight runs, we've got 5 companies. We'll do 5-minute pitches and 5-minute Q&A. We'll wrap up probably around 8 o'clock. We'll have community announcements at the end. So think about what yours is. At the very end, anyone who's has a community announcement will gather in a line along this side and make announcements from you guys. A2 New Tech is always the 3rd Tuesday of each month. And we do have openings for companies that might want to pitch in the month of June. So May is full, but we are looking for June. So if you know anybody, be sure to email organizers@a2newtech.org. Please silence your phones. And then I want to kick off with an introduction to Ryan Gorley, who's the Assistant Director of Student Ventures at TechArb, and an educator with the youth that are here. And he's an engaged connector and has become a very fast friend of mine. So I'm really proud to have him come up here and introduce what TechArb does and the students that are here with you tonight. So, awesome. Ryan.
Hello everyone, thanks Brooke. I'm just going to give probably about 4 slides here. We're looking at about 2 minutes just to give you some context of what you're about to hear. I think that many of you in the room are familiar with TechArb. Some of you are tech what? What is that? So TechArb is our student venture accelerator at the University of Michigan, and what we do is we take some of the top performing entrepreneurs, entrepreneurial students, and put them through an intensive program. At least the past 5 cohorts, which would be the past 3 years, this has looked like a semester-long program, so anywhere from 16 to 22 weeks. And we do 1 in the winter and then 1 in the summer. But I already had a question before about what's happening this summer. We won't be doing a cohort this summer. We're cooking up a couple of other programs that we're going to run in the fall and the winter semester. And then in all likelihood, but this isn't in stone, so don't hold me to it, please. The next TechArb cohort would be next summer, 2019. There will be lots of programming for student entrepreneurs at Michigan in the meantime. There will be lots of opportunities for the mentor community to engage with them if they're interested. And you can do that by reaching out to me. You can find me after I've got my card, or you can find me at TechArb if you DM me there. We'll connect that way. But anyway, TechArb has been around for, what is that, like 9 years now. We've had 17 cohorts, which is about 230 teams to date. And on average, we've done about 2 cohorts with 6 to 8 teams per year. This is kind of our developmental process that we put the students through. Prime, discover, build, launch, and then throughout that connect. And so it's really focused on developing an entrepreneurial mindset, preparing sort of management and leadership skills, then customer discovery, problem discovery, solution discovery, then building the product and building the business, and then finally pitching and fundraising. And so the students that you're going to hear from today, they're at the end of this cohort. In fact, their demo day is April 26th. And so they're right in the middle or towards the end of the launch phase. And then throughout that, they've been connecting with mentors, customers, clients, etc. And that's part of this as well. So in terms of what we offer, we have 5 key assets. It's the workspace. So we're down on Liberty Street, about 2 doors down from Michigan Theater. If you're familiar with Menlo is, that's often the easy way to find us. Lots of people in this room will probably know where Menlo is. We're right next door to Menlo in the A2 Startup Garage. We provide them with some material support. This looks like the technology that we have in there. For example, if we have a team that's working on AR, VR, we'll endeavor to get them whatever tech they need for that. We have a 3D printer there for teams that have needed that in the past. And we offer a small amount of stipend funding as well. Expert mentors, that's part of coming to these things, connecting them with mentors, growing our mentor community. Tailored programming, so it's those 5 phases that I mentioned previously. We do that through workshops and training. This cohort has been special in that we ran an experiment where we put them in a course, and I want to give a special shout out to John Hennessy in the back row. If you don't know John, he's not only a great entrepreneur, but he's a great educator as well. And so I was really thankful to have his partnership stepping up and leading these guys through the program. Also, since I see her, I want to give a shout out to Barbara Bolt as well. Barbara has been helping them refine their pitches, and their pitches today are going to be great, and that's to no small credit to Barbara. So thank you. And then at the middle there, you'll see a supportive community. And time and again, after the program, the students tend to report like what was the most valuable asset, and they say that supportive community. And this isn't just like the fuzzy, warm, feel-good things. Really, a supportive community is what reduces the friction to them finding success. So a highly networked ecosystem, which Brooke can talk all about with the Engage and the Connector program, is really how these ventures are birthed and become successful. I'm not going to worry about playing that video because you guys just heard all you need to. So, a couple of shameless plugs. Tomorrow we're having an open house at TechArb that is from 4 to 6. And you can RSVP by going to bit.ly/TechArbW18 open house. Y'all are welcome. And then we have demo day next Thursday, April 26th. That's from 4 to 7. And that's at the BSRB building, which is where Washtenaw turns into Huron, that silver beam-looking building. That's Khan Auditorium, so we'll be in there. And you'll hear from 5 or 6 teams on that day as well. And that's bit.ly/TechArbW18 demo day. And that's a wrap. Are there any questions? Should I take questions?
Sure.
I can take questions, a couple questions.
Is it only for students?
Only for students. So you have to have, the principal has to be a student. There's non-students on the teams. In fact, some of the teams presenting, we have some non-students. But the principals have to be a student. It has to be student-led, student-driven. With some of the new programs that we're cooking up, there might be some opportunities to have non-students play even more primary roles. Any other questions? Sweet. That means I did my job well. All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, Brian. I just want to take a couple of minutes for you guys to actually find a seat, because we're going to be here for a while, and there are available seats, especially down in the front, as per usual. So please, get comfy. I also want to say a huge thanks to Cam Herring-Shaw, who is the tech sector ambassador for Engage and the Connector program, and I roped him in real quick when I realized I was going to have to host this, and there was going to be a very important tech component to this. So as things may go awry, Cam's going to make sure that actually gets handled nicely and set us up really well. So thank you, Cam, for doing that.
Okay. Can the first TechArb presenter please join us? Thank you. I'm trying to figure out which slides to pull.
So in introducing this first group, I have lots of conversations with people across all the different industries in Ann Arbor and in the Metro Detroit region. And what's interesting is there's a lot of conversation around food sustainability and access. And I think you'll see from multiple, 3 of the founders that are presenting tonight are addressing problems in that market. And so I'm really excited to introduce Fish and Plants, and this is Eric Lee. Fish and Plants is a venture dedicated to developing alternative farming technologies, specifically aquaponics, to grow and harvest locally sourced, high-quality fish and produce. And I'll let him use all the words correctly. Thanks, Eric.
Hi guys, my name is Eric and I'm the co-founder of Fish and Plants. So before we get started, just a show of hands, in terms of distance, when you go to the supermarket and you see local, what do you think of the distance it takes from the farm to it being at the supermarket? Just a show of hands, just shout out a guess.
500 miles.
500 miles. Any other ones?
50 miles.
50.
250,
250. Those are some really good guesses, actually. So, right now, as of recently, a study has shown that according to local supermarkets who claim they are local, most big box superstores, the food actually comes from over 450 miles away. For regional supermarkets like Bush's and Plum Market, it usually comes around 100. And then for farmers market, it's around 25. That's the national average, but I'm guessing for Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti, it's more like 3 to 5. So, what is Fish and Plants trying to do? Fish and Plants is trying to actually redefine the word local. So what does that mean? Redefining local means I want to be able to figure out a way to increase traceability and face-to-face. Have people in the front knowing where their food exactly comes from. Secondly, I want to decrease the environmental impacts associated with producing food, such as, especially when you bring food from such a far place away, you're actually inducing emissions costs as well as environmental impacts. And also the quality of the purchased food. As you know, if you transport food from somewhere far away to the place of where it's sold, the freshness of the food goes down and the quality would go down also. And then finally, what I want to change is the food transportation impact. I want to decrease it to less than 5 miles. So how do I do this? So the problem I'm trying to solve is how do I redefine local food while not sacrificing additional energy, space, and water. And through this, my solution is aquaponics. For those of you that don't know, aquaponics is a combination of aquaculture and hydroponics. What that means is growing fish and plants within a sustainable closed-loop system where the waste of the fish will actually be translated into nitrates, which is used by plants, and the plants actually clean the water and it goes back into the fish as a clean source of energy. Why aquaponics? Aquaponics actually uses much less water than traditional agriculture. When I say traditional agriculture, I mean soil-based farming. It uses around 55% less water. You grow these plants without any sorts of pesticides or chemicals. Studies have shown, and from my own research, that crops yield increases by 33% per crop cycle. And finally, produce, any type of produce can be produced year-round given the right types of technology sustaining that. So, a lot of people say alternative farming technology isn't sustainable because of high construction costs as well as the use of lots of energy. Well, what I'm going to tell you today is the technology I'm trying to develop, which I put a little thing currently that's still designing. I'm trying to decrease, my biggest point of contact is to decrease construction costs to the point where it can be easily duplicable, similar like in the automotive industry. Additionally, I want to use, within the first year of developing my first system, I want to use at least 50% of my energy resources from renewable energy. And then I want to create a highly modular design. This means that it can be adaptable to any kind of space possible. And as well as for food transportation, again, less than 5 miles, so it'll be with a city with lots of hustle and bustle, specifically Ann Arbor. So, who are the people I'm trying to market this to? In recent times, I've been talking to 3 distinct places who I feel like will be targeting for my initial customers, which is People's Food Co-op in Ann Arbor, the Farmers Market, as well as Argus Farm South. These 3 places are the places I've chosen because these people, the people who shop there and the people who run them, are very well in tune with what local and sustainable food means. So what are the next steps for Fish and Plants? From now until around September, August I actually started talking to Mathai Botanical Gardens, which is out on Dixboro Road, to build my first research system. We actually got approved for space there, so now I'm in negotiations with them to actually figure out how I'm going to do it, because I'm going to be a for-profit business, some logistics in there. My co-founder and I are actually heading out to Las Vegas to go to Indoor AgCon, which is kind of a funny name. But basically it's indoor agriculture to anybody who wants to talk about it. And then finally, the phase 1 build will be basically the end of this year, next year into next year. And then the first time we put Fish and Plants in the system will be March of next year, and the first harvest will probably be around July. So, what am I asking from you guys? So basically trying to start a startup as a student. I'm broke, as you guys all know. So I'm actually looking for some investors or some people to show me the ropes and how to business. and as well as a space for a commercial size system. Mathai is actually a place for a research institution, so you're not allowed to grow anything and be sold. So actually Mathai would be basically there for me to build just a research system. And finally, connections in the farming industry. The team is, I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm a senior, and I'm Wendy over there. You want to raise your hand? She's an architecture major. We both founded Michigan Aquaponics, so that's why I'm doing all this. And that's it.
And that
Thank
was
you.
5 minutes. Bravo, Eric. So we have a really full room tonight. We get 5 minutes for Q&A. Thank you, Brandon, for starting the timer. To make this simple, I'd like for you to raise your hand if you have a card or multiple cards to kind of identify what your interest is here. Please use that when you raise your hand, and then I'll call on whomever the person is to make it a little bit easier for Eric to know and not have to pull.
Maybe
also.
stand up.
And so yeah, standing up would be great, especially as we try to make sure we hear you well. So questions for fish and plants? Great, thank you.
Eric, wonderful.
And your name? Your name?
Oh, I'm Kerry Williams. I'm from Capital National Bank in Lansing.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, and a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
I was wondering, has anything like this been implemented anywhere else throughout the United States?
That's a really good question. Actually, yes, aquaponics is actually more of a hobbyist technology. It's been around for a really long time, but the problem is no one has found a good way of bringing it to a commercial setting without it costing an extreme amount of money. So for example, actually out in Wisconsin, this is actually a major at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. It's really, really big in Wisconsin. And the place, it's called Superior Fresh, actually operates the largest aquaponics facility, but it's actually backed by Ashley's Furniture. I don't know if you guys know who that is. They're a $1 billion company. So if you imagine the founders of that company is actually backing Superior Fresh. So they have extreme means of trying to operate a system and actually figure out the hijinks in it before it actually comes up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm Mark Beck.
Nice to meet you.
I was wondering, one thing kind of glossed over in the presentation, which I did enjoy a lot, was there are no real projections on cost versus profit versus,
Right.
operations, that kind of stuff. So there are no numbers in there. I'm just kind of curious. I know you have to run through some,
Right.
have some estimates.
Right, that's awesome. I actually, just to speak on that, I actually had like 3 presentations prepared for this one. I was kind of juggling which one to do. One was like mostly numbers and business based, one was more informational like this one, and the last one was more just a very broad sense of what aquaponics is. In terms of projections, I'll just give you from my perspective what it's going to be. Actually, within the first year, usually within farming technologies such as this one, you'll be profitable by the 3rd to 4th year, which means I'm going to be starting a research system within this year, and then next year I'm actually building my first commercial system like you've seen on the timeline, and then from there I'm actually upwards of about, one system can produce about $250,000 in revenue when it's fully operational, and that's 5,000 gallons max fish tank, 5,000 gallons max for the plant bed. That answers your question.
Right here.
Hi, Jason Garr with
Nice to
Jones
meet
Day
you.
in Detroit. Back on the informational side, you talked a little bit about some of the benefits to growing plants hydroponically as opposed to traditional farming. I was wondering from the other half of what you're doing, what are some of the benefits, if any, of growing fish in this manner as opposed to traditional farming?
Right, that's a really good question too. So growing fish, so one of the biggest main proponents of fish right now is imported fish from fish farms. So growing fish in a controlled setting within actually a very large fish tank, the benefit of that is that you're able to basically control everything that goes into the fish as well as control the quality of what fish comes out. So what happens in fish farming, especially in Indonesia, those places who actually produce a lot of these fish that we eat every day, the quality cannot be guaranteed, as well as the fish actually grow in a sense where you don't know where it's coming from and what's going in and what's coming out. That answers your question.
Okay. Time for one more question. Going. Gone.
All right,
Eric? So our next company is Open Door Energy. We have Eric Krostich.
Yes.
Awesome. And Aiden O'Connor. Open Door Energy is an online platform that makes it easy for residential property owners to perform energy efficiency improvements to their property.
Great.
You ready?
Yeah.
Look at you. Go.
Hello, everyone. We are Open Door Energy, and again, our mission is to make it easier for residential property owners to improve the efficiency of their existing homes. My name is Eric Krostich. I'm a dual degree graduate student here at Michigan, and my co-founder, Aiden, wearing the NASA sweatshirt, is back there. So looking at global energy trends, they are unsustainable and they need to change. We are polluting the environment and we are accelerating the impact of global warming. There are two general categories to combat those two things. One is renewable energy generation, and the second is energy efficiency. Looking at the first one, renewable generation, that's increasing the amount of clean supply of energy through technologies like solar panels and wind turbines. Energy efficiency is the process of reducing energy demand through technology improvements and design improvements to existing and new homes and properties. What we want to do at Open Door Energy is focus on the energy efficiency side of the puzzle. Even though it's the less glamorized and less publicized of the two options, we believe energy efficiency has a much greater opportunity to reduce emissions and also save money. Right now, the energy efficiency process for residential properties starts with, on the left side, with searching on the web or word of mouth about different opportunities to improve the energy efficiency of your home. And it ends with construction, which means the fit out of or the upgrade of your residential property. That could be improved insulation, thicker windows, maybe a replacement to your HVAC system or your heating or cooling system. In the middle, though, there are four pieces of the process that make it very, very difficult to manage. And the first one is selecting the right contractor or tester for your efficiency. The second is which tests to run on the property and how to appropriately model those through within a financing model. The third is integrating incentives and rebates into that energy model. And the fourth is scheduling the contractors and stakeholders throughout the process. That's what we want to do at Open Door Energy, is coordinate those four things. So we want to coordinate those four things. So we want to become an online marketplace that does two things. We guide residential property owners through the process from start to finish, and we also connect them with experts and stakeholders in the area that can actually perform the tests and manage the construction. Here's what our typical customer would look like, and we've broken it down into four different categories. The first is someone who thinks that they have high energy costs at their property and knows that they're paying higher than average utility costs. The second segment is someone who wants to increase their home value. Research has shown that an energy efficient home can sell for 2 to 5% more than the average home. The third is a residential property owner who has existing problems. For example, a broken heating system, and they want to perform a full home assessment during the replacement process. And the fourth is someone who wants to improve the home health. So that's fixing air filtration issues or improving the draftiness of the house. So our process starts with that property owner falling into one or all of those categories, coming to our marketplace and uploading their information into the site, starting with property location and property type. The next step is we help them find experts in the area that will come to their house and actually perform tests on their property. And that could take a few hours. Typically they're called a blower door test and an infrared test. The next step is we upload the results of those tests to our website and show the property owner exactly how they can profit from an energy efficiency upgrade. And that list will provide net present value and estimated payback periods. The next step is based on their location and property type. We would provide them with a list of incentives that they can apply to the project and upload those as well into the energy modeling software. And the last step is hiring contractors. Based on the upgrades the residential property owner wants to pursue, we'll help them connect with contractors in the area that will actually perform the upgrades. So for the next steps for Open Door Energy are focusing on that first piece of the puzzle, which is connecting residential property owners with efficiency testers throughout the U.S. Right now, we've compiled a list of about 1,500 energy testers throughout the U.S. We've gotten some grant funding. like Eric, I'm actually still poor too, but we have collected some grant funding from the university to help us design and develop our website, our initial platform. We're designing it right now, working with developers, and hopefully that will be up and running by the end of the summer. The ask for this group is we're always looking for designers or developers to join our team or provide additional support, as well as always looking for stakeholders and experts in the energy industry to provide insight or who wants to learn more about our model. Thank you.
Well done. All right, so we'll move to questions. In the very back, by the window.
Can you give me a rough cost of what an assessment would be?
Do you have a name?
Eric, I'm sorry.
Hi, Eric.
Yeah, so there are definitely different levels of assessments. Some will be offered from DTE for free, and those are really low-level assessments where they'll come to your property, give you new light bulbs and maybe some aerators for your sink, and they'll make a property owner think that they've actually done an improvement to their property. And from my perspective, that's not really what we're trying to do. We're trying to go out and ask for what's called an energy auditor, which will typically cost about $250 to $750, depending on the square footage of your home.
So another question on this end? Yes, sir.
Thierry Rodin, I'm an innovator. So what's your business model?
Right. So initially, we're probably going to be charging what's called energy auditors and contractors for lead referral fees. Ultimately, we'd like to provide enough value throughout the process to charge some type of percentage that allows the contractor to use the system throughout the process. So we'll provide a lot of the data and the organizational, we'll replace a lot of the data and overhead costs of that property. So we like to think of it like, if you know Seamless, they're an online marketplace that you can order food through. So you'll go on Seamless and you can order food, and it will interpret that data and tell the restaurant to deliver it to you. When the customer can actually just call the restaurant and do it themselves, Seamless provides enough value that the restaurant is willing to give Seamless that responsibility. So we just want to continue moving forward and provide as much value as possible to both the contractor and the customer.
Scott.
So you have these 1,500 emails. How do you get them onto the platform, especially at the beginning when you might not be able to give them any leads?
Yeah, so I'm sorry if I was unclear. It's actually 1,500 websites. So we're collecting the data and we're almost completed. So we collect the simple stuff like address, email, website, but then we're actually collecting more categories. So for example, we want to specify for a customer who's an unbiased energy auditor who isn't going to try to sell you on HVAC equipment. We also have a different category for an HVAC contractor who does this energy assessments, but their main priority is selling HVAC equipment. So depending on what the customer wants to do, we want to sort of provide consulting services for them online through the platform.
So if you had their emails, you had just their websites, how do you get them onto the platform though?
Yeah, so how do you get the contractor?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so that will be hard initially because we're not really providing value, but after talking to a lot of energy auditors and a lot of contractors, leads for them are really difficult to get because energy efficiency isn't a hot topic. People like to install solar on their roof because they can show their neighbors that are doing it, but efficiency is behind a wall and you can't really brag about it and it's not really fun. So getting that lead is really difficult. If we can provide value to the contractor by easily getting them someone who would call them or contract with them, then they're more willing to maybe upload their software to their scheduling software to us, and then eventually use the software or use our platform for the entire process.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Steven. Average homeowner looks at their utility bill about 6 minutes a year. So how do you get the homeowner to engage at the top of the funnel and go through the process and pay an energy auditor to come out?
Yeah. So we've spoken before, and people don't care about energy efficiency because they look at it as they look at utility bills as a sunk cost. And if your bill is $100 a month and you can reduce it by $50, big deal, right? So what a lot of certifications around the country, like BPI and ResNet, are reframing the problem like to be more health conscious. Improve your home's efficiency to reduce the outset of asthma or headaches. And initially, that's the perspective we're going to take, is more health-conscious perspectives. and then larger buildings who also have large utility bills. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge to convince people to move forward with a utility type of program like this.
All right. I think that's time.
Last one.
Can we do one more?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I know most business, they try to get rid of middleman to reduce their costs, right? The role you play is like kind of middleman. How can you compete with, let's say, DTE? They hire contractor, they hire people who can do the tests, right? They cut the middle cost, service fee.
Yeah.
How do you compete with this?
So we don't really look at DTE as a competitor as much as a potential partner. So they're running programs to get an energy efficiency audit to your house. But the programs right now are pretty low level. They're not doing full home comprehensive analysis. They're not helping you retrofit. They're not walking you through the process. I have a packet over there that will show you the basic things that they provide you, which is light bulbs, aerators, weather sealing strips. We want to make it more of a whole building experience, so we can look at the big problem as opposed to DTE. So to answer your question, if we create a platform that can help DTE connect their customers with energy auditors and contractors, that could be eventually some type of partnership.
So how can you prevent copy crash?
What's that?
How can you prevent copy crash?
Copies?
Yeah, like copy your strategy and they just crash you.
Yeah.
This big company.
So, great question. For example, just to repeat that, how can you prevent copycats? So really, you can think of Angie's List and HomeAdvisor.com as the initial search engine platforms. What we want to do is be in Angie's List, but more specific for energy efficiency. So while we can't stop someone from copying us, our next steps after we develop the first platform is focus specifically on Michigan. And if we could be the first to market and set up those partnerships with Michigan Saves, which is a nonprofit organization, and DTE and consumers, and establish ourselves before anybody else, we feel like we'll be in a better position than other people to come.
Okay, our next founder is Kylie Judge with Quirk. Kylie Quirk. Quirk crafts small batch, locally made drinking vinegars from Quirky fruit. Kylie?
Hello, my name is Kylie Judge, and I am the CEO and founder of Quirk. 133 billion pounds. That's how much food goes to waste every year in the US alone. If that number is not staggering enough, 21% of our freshwater is consumed by growing crops only to throw them away again. To make the situation even worse, a large portion of these produce are actually thrown away because of outdated beauty standards. They are the wrong size, shape, or color, like the fruit you see on the slide, and are therefore rejected. In Michigan alone, over 1.5 million pounds of quirky fruit is rejected every year. Now, this problem is actually closely tied with the rising health epidemic in the United States, with over 15% of adults struggling with diabetes and 30% struggling with their weight. This means millions of Americans are looking for better beverage choices and better food choices. You can see new markets and new trends emerging all across social media, and millions of people supporting new natural products, such as apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar has been shown to improve your energy while decreasing your fatigue, help with digestion, and even aid in fat loss. However, there aren't many good ways to incorporate apple cider vinegar into your diet. Most people attempt to do a straight shot of apple cider vinegar, and it's not pleasant, as you can see by the faces of some of these YouTubers. And that's where Quirk comes in. Quirk crafts small batch, locally made drinking vinegars. They are a balanced combination of apple cider vinegar, water, fruit juice, and spices, with just a touch of natural sweetness. They come in these nice 12-ounce bottles, perfect to grab and go on evenings just like today. Up here we have an example of our hibiscus mint flavor. We also have a turmeric jalapeno and a ginger lime. But you might be saying, well, why did you start with 133 billion? Well, it's in our name, Quirk, made from quirky fruit. We use these fruits of the wrong size, shape, or color to make our products. On the slide is actually a picture of apples we've picked up before. These beautiful, delicious apples were rejected just because of their appearance. To date, we've saved over 1,000 pounds of quirky fruit. We've surveyed over 250 consumers about their eco-consciousness and also their habits around apple cider vinegar, and we've interviewed an additional 150 consumers. Our last public tasting, we were very well received with over 68% of people saying they would buy our product if it were on shelves. But why aren't people already buying it then? Well, there are only 6 national competitors, and these competitors are actually really struggling. Most of their apple cider vinegar products are just offshoots of their business, with their main focus somewhere else, which means they haven't done the extensive customer discovery that I have and actually make sugar-filled, unhealthy, very expensive products that completely miss the customer segments who are looking for apple cider vinegar. Oh, well, my picture did not appear, but I am the sole founder. However, none of this would have been possible without a network of mentors and advisors. We were lucky enough to be chosen for TechGuard and the Zell Entrepreneurs Program this semester, which came with additional funding, but the main piece is mentorship. Mentorship, help and connections to great audiences like you. We also partnered with the MSU Product Center to access over 50 years of industry experience so that we can bring you the best product possible with the raw apple cider vinegar in it. Next steps for us are a soft launch. We're here today to ask for some help with that. As you might have seen on one of the previous slides, our bottles don't have labels. So we're looking for a local designer or a local design team that likes to work with startups and is used to working with consumer goods. If any of you are part of those teams or have connections, I would love an introduction. We are also looking to start our advertising and marketing before our soft launch. It's really important that we have a strong presence so people will recognize us and our launch can go successfully. So if anyone has experience with advertising and marketing or knows a company that likes to work with startups that have small budgets, I would also love an introduction. So now I will give the next 20 seconds and the additional 5 minutes for any questions you guys might have.
Hi, my name is Judy. So do you have to pasteurize, or is keeping it unpasteurized going to limit your market?
So our apple cider vinegar is raw, but all the other ingredients that need to be pasteurized are. And it's actually shelf stable. We've been working with the MSU Product Center to have a pH balance that brings it to you in a raw state that is completely safe.
Along those lines, what is the shelf life of your products?
It's a great question. Right now we're at about 6 months, but it can go, we can expand it either way. We're working with MSU Product Center. Balance, taste, quality, shelf life.
And that's not in a refrigerator?
Nope, shelf stable.
Hi, my name is William. How does seasonality affect your products?
That's also a great question and something we spent a lot of time researching. So we spent all of last summer working with these large fruit manufacturers to make sure that they would have the scale and quantity that we need. So we can collect enough over the summer seasons and then ferment them for longer periods of time. We're also working with some local orchards that have longer seasons.
I saw a couple of hands over here. Go for it.
Thomas, between your bottle and your raw materials, classic Shark Tank question, what is your cost to make one, and then where do you sell it?
So our COGS are terrible right now, and that's because we have to buy everything in small batches of less than 500. So we're at about $1.60 per bottle. Once we get to the scale, we can get it down to 80 cents a bottle, so we can cut it in half. It gives us margins at the beginning are kind of crappy. They're about 24%. Once we get it down, we can get it up to closer to 60 where we want to be.
Right. What is the pH, and is it still vinegar or is it something else?
Yeah, so we put the daily dose of apple cider vinegar in it, which is about 4 teaspoons of vinegar in 12 ounces. Mix it with other ingredients. The pHs vary a little bit, but they're all under 3.5.
Sorry, how much?
3.5.
So it's still vinegar?
Yeah, it's a vinegar-based drink. Think like a cocktail shrub.
I'm sorry?
Think like a cocktail shrub. So it has the apple cider vinegar.
Cocktails become esters when you change the pH. Well, anyways, I mean.
We can talk more after too.
Yeah, sure.
Casey?
Kylie, have you done any product testing with consumers yet for your product?
We have. We've held 5 public tastings, and our last one we were actually received very well, with 68% of people saying they want to buy our product.
Where would you be going to market to? Like trying to go into retail shelves or direct online?
That's also something we're developing right now. We've been working during our time at TechArt to do our go-to-market strategy. We've got 15 local retailers that we're trying to launch in for our soft launch over the next couple months, and then we want to look at e-commerce.
And have you considered, because you mentioned cocktails, have you considered bars and so forth, like
So-
add it in as a mixer and stuff like that?
Yeah, right now ours is like a 12-ounce drink for sipping, but one of the later product lines we want to launch is a concentrated one that can be used for different applications.
In the back.
I'm Fred. You started talking about nutrition. Tell me about the nutrition of your product.
Yes. So inherently all our products are low calorie, low sugar. They're all under 35 calories and under 5 grams of sugar. We only use natural sweeteners such as honey or agave. So we do have some vegan options in there. And then the secret ingredient, which is not so secret, is our apple cider vinegar, which studies have shown help with weight loss. And there are also new studies today going on that show things with balancing your blood sugar, so helping with energy.
I might have missed this, but where do you actually sell your products? Is it online?
We haven't launched yet. We are looking to do our soft launch in the next month at local retailers and then pursuing e-commerce once we have some funding.
By local retailers, you mean like Kroger or like?
Great question. We want to start in fast casual restaurants, so where people are used to trying new things, picking up new beverages, and then go to local retailers such as Kroger and the like.
Did you bring any samples?
Unfortunately, I didn't bring any samples today.
That's an excellent question.
Next time.
One more question. Although Kylie speed up maybe 2. Yes.
You said that, so you're trying to market this product with very health conscious individuals, is that correct?
Yeah.
So when you say like apple cider vinegar, the first thing you think is vinegar, ew, it ruins plates. I don't want to drink that. Have you, what kind of advertising have you thought about trying to get out to the like more general consumer, like trying to get, like what kind of ways have you thought of trying to get people around the idea of that vinegar is like a good idea, to like get people's heads around it?
That's one of the most common questions I get. So our beachhead market are people who already drink apple cider vinegar, know about the health benefits, and just are looking for better ways to put it into their diet. Not the gross shots, but a lovely beverage that you can sip on and enjoy. When we're looking to go to other markets, it's kind of a similar model to kombucha. 4 years ago, no one knew what it was, and if you said fermented tea, people would be like, no. But now it's set to be over a $3 billion industry. So we're waiting for a little bit for other brands to start doing a lot of the education for us. And then we do have some marketing plays we're working on to kind of educate customers and bring on new customers outside of our beachhead.
And that's time. Thank you. Sticking with the food theme, we have Jack Griffin from Food Finder. Here he comes. Food Finder is a nonprofit organization that uses a website and mobile app to help food insecure families get accurate and trustworthy information on their nearest food assistance programs.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jack Griffin. I'm a junior studying business here at Michigan, and I'm the founder of Food Finder. Food Finder's goal is simple: to use technology to connect the people looking for help with the places that offer it. 5 years ago, I joined the fight against hunger, or at least I tried to. After watching a news story on 60 Minutes that showed how difficult life really was for hungry families, I wanted to volunteer at a food pantry near my home back in Georgia. But when I went online to try and find one, it was a lot more difficult than I expected it to be. For just going to Google left a lot to be desired. And that's when I thought to myself, what if I was someone who needed the assistance being offered at the food pantries I was looking for? If I was a student on free and reduced lunch who didn't know where to get food over spring break or over the summer, what was I supposed to do? Today, at full employment, no less, a staggering 15 million households in America are food insecure, meaning that these are all families who either lack the quantity or quality of food needed to just live active, healthy lives. At the same time, there are more than 50,000 food pantries and food assistance programs all over America that can get them the help that they're looking for. But again, why is it so hard for the two sides of the equation to meet in the middle, where the supply of food assistance is connected with the need for it? As I experienced by learning it myself, it is incredibly difficult to get this information on food assistance just by searching online, much less to do so quickly or easily. But given the tremendous and needed work being done at these outreach programs, it absolutely shouldn't be. That is why I created Food Finder, a 501c3 nonprofit organization that makes it easy to get accurate, trustworthy, and reliable information on food pantries and similar programs. Overcoming the lack of reliable information available about these resources online, our web and mobile applications display a map of all nearby food pantries, emergency kitchens, and shelters, along with the information needed to know exactly when and how to get free food from that program. Both platforms are currently operational today, so if you were to pull up the app on your phone right now, this is what you'd see. That blue dot is all of us here in the law school, and each of those red pins is a free food provider in the Ann Arbor area. The closest one is actually St. Andrew's Church, and if you were to tap on it one more time, then you arrive at Food Finder's final screen. Both of our platforms source from our singular database of free food assistance providers, which as of this point in time currently holds the data of more than 25,000 such programs across all 50 states. From a more organizational standpoint, Food Finder can't help anyone if no one knows about us. Throughout our history, the most effective channel by far for raising awareness of Food Finder has been the public school system. Not only are public schools a welcome and centralized institution in this extremely fragmented space, but they also house Food Finder's two primary user segments: food insecure families and the advocates of those families, such as teachers, counselors, and social workers. With regards to traction, more than 30,000 people have already used Food Finder and learned where to get food assistance near them. From a financial standpoint, Food Finder has received some incredible support from people and organizations who have been welcomed into our vision. Through grants and donations, we have raised more than $111,000 to go towards our efforts and the work that we do. And I say it's the work that we do because I am part of an extremely talented and experienced team. From our developers to our board of directors, Food Finder's team has decades of experience in programming, nonprofit management, and educational leadership. On-campus support and mentoring have come from TechArb, as you probably could have guessed, the Center for Entrepreneurship, and the Zell Lurie Institute. And finally, as we're wrapping up, it's worth remembering that massive problems like hunger need massive solutions. Food insecurity is an extremely prevalent issue, but it's also one that is extremely difficult to see if you're not directly affected by it. Please consider referring Food Finder to anyone you know who might be who works in the education system or who acts as a volunteer. Finally, please consider downloading the mobile app for yourself or visiting our URL at foodfinder.us, because you may never know when you might have to turn to it and might actually help someone get a meal where they didn't have one before. Thank you, and I'd love to answer any questions you may have.
Questions?
My name is Steve Glauberman. What's your ask?
Yeah, so our ask, apart from just using it yourself, we are seeking roughly $200,000 in funding this year. We're about a third of the way there. Of course, it doesn't even have to be really more from an institutional investor standpoint. All donations are tax deductible. But it is, apart from funding and just general awareness efforts, if you have anyone, as I said, in the education system or who might be tied to volunteering efforts, even if it's tangential to maybe economic assistance, really grateful for any way to spread the word.
Zach.
Where do you get your data? It's so hard to come by.
Yeah, so we have three main sources of data that we draw from. The first is working with regional food banks. So for the 200 regional food banks in the Feeding America network, like Food Gatherers, these are the actual distributors who oftentimes distribute the food to the individual food pantries, hundreds per food bank, the food pantries that are on Food Finder's database. So working with the food banks themselves, web scraping, and working with other supplemental sources and other sort of smaller aggregators, such as United Way's 211 or other regional collections.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pat. The app that you have, is that purely for volunteers or for the families who are in need for?
Yeah, no, so that's a great question. Because definitely, I don't. It's when I first sort of saw that news story 5 years ago as a high schooler, I just wanted to find the best way that I could help out. So I don't want to. I'm a big believer in actually finding a problem before even coming up with the solution itself. So it is counterintuitive for technology. So we want to be a resource for both the families and the advocates who are in a more permanent position to help those families. And it is worth sort of looking into data for this one because it is counterintuitive. So this is via Pew Research, where actually 61% of food insecure children themselves have smartphones. So it is actually a surprising level of accessibility to technology. So if the people, the users for children, teenagers, and families have the technology themselves, they're often the ones who are first ignored when people are coming up with technology platforms and solutions. So if they are in dire circumstances in relation to food or other elements of their life, then for a resource and a tool for the advocates and for themselves, we want to be a very high quality and considerate tool for them to help connect the people looking for help with the places that offer it.
In the long term, do you expect to still rely on grants and foundations, or do you think about introducing like a social element or revenue stream to this?
Yes, you might have got the sneak preview beforehand. In the long run, 2018 especially is going to be our first year of really prioritizing financial sustainability. Grants and donations, as are true to our nonprofit roots, will always be important. But in order to help the most people, it would be great to actually generate our own revenue. So this sort of takes a dual data monetization approach that we're really looking to test and explore this upcoming summer. So this will take for our usage data, as we want that to be a much clearer sort of indicator of the demand for food assistance. That's where we work with regional food banks and government departments of agriculture and education. One we're actually pursuing our first sale as we speak is in the second category of simply sort of licensing the food pantry data that we've already aggregated to state and local governments and social services organizations, so we can do a little of the heavy lifting for them, and that would all be for a monthly fee.
Have you heard of health systems actually providing patients that are low, that don't have food accessible to them with prescriptions to be able to go out and get food, and it is paid for? And if so, could you tie that into your business model?
Yes, absolutely. So healthcare is one of the industries where it's coming up more and more frequently for a place that food funding can have a real impact, especially when healthcare institutions and hospitals and clinics actually deal with food insecurity on a surprisingly regular basis. But of course, that isn't really their main focus of helping people who come in once they leave the actual place of care. So that is definitely something we're exploring.
So I know I saw a few other hands go up. Just a reminder, we do have a chance to get together and chat at Pizza House afterwards, and so we'll have to wrap this one up and move on to the next pitch. But thank you.
Thank you.
This next pitch is actually very near and dear to my heart. I got to meet Brandon and Ann earlier in this term. My daughter had leukemia as an infant, and I was in the situation where Canopy might have been a tool that I had used. Fortunately, we had a really great outcome. But I want to introduce Elizabeth, Michael, Brandon, Keelan, and Ann. How do you say your last name? And Dom. So Canopy provides a web application that helps people talk about and make end-of-life healthcare decisions, and then share those decisions through a legal document with loved ones and medical providers. So, Elizabeth.
This is Andrea. About a year ago, she spent a night in the emergency room struggling to make decisions on behalf of her Uncle Frank. The doctors turned to her for answers about treatment, answers that she just didn't have. Frank's journey had begun 6 months prior when he was diagnosed with throat cancer. Before that night, he'd undergone surgery, received treatment for an infection, and spent time at a skilled nursing facility. But the doctors never told him how to talk to Andrea about what to do if he couldn't speak for himself. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm a co-founder of Canopy, along with Ann and Brandon. Our company is focused on helping ensure that people from all walks of life are better prepared today to manage the difficulties of tomorrow. Our core product is a web application that helps people talk about and make end-of-life healthcare decisions as an extension of services offered by the health system. Canopy simplifies the planning process, following a model similar to TurboTax that breaks everything down into manageable pieces. Gotta figure this out. Canopy allows users to record their wishes in their own words through video, providing nuance that's often missing in written documentation. At the end of the process, families walk away with a signed advance directive, allowing them to advocate in times of crisis. As a digital platform, Canopy makes sharing information easier so that everyone, providers and families alike, have the answers they need. Ultimately, for families, Canopy provides peace of mind, ensuring support as they journey through healthcare. And for the health system, Canopy reduces costs. Studies show that just having this conversation can cut the cost of end-of-life healthcare in half, from $30,000 on average to $15,000. So our customers are large health systems and their patients who are living with chronic illnesses, are advanced in age, or have a terminal diagnosis. Canopy is a business to consumer company. We provide enterprise-level software to the health system, who then passes along our consumer-facing product to their patient. Patients complete a digital advanced care planning process, and at the end of the process, share their documentation with their providers and their loved ones. Canopy charges the health system both a licensing fee and a usage fee per patient. As a company, we value health equity and believe that everyone should have access to this conversation. Right now, 63% of adults in the US don't have an advance directive, and that percentage increases across demographics. So we want to ensure that advanced care planning processes are accessible. So one strategy we're implementing is to waive the per patient usage fee charged to the health system for patients who fall below the federal poverty level. As more and more people enter their retirement age, the need for this conversation only grows. 5 years from now, there will be 82 million people in the US over the age of 55 and without an advance directive. We aim to reach 1.6 million of that population. The system has competitors, but is still searching for solutions. Canopy is positioned to excel through a combination of our elevated and simple user experience, as well as our enterprise-focused business model. Our journey together began a year ago, and since then we've been able to raise over $40,000 in non-dilutive capital. We recently finished our minimum viable product, and right now we're finalizing a partnership so that we could pilot our tool this summer. Our team is incredible, and I'm not biased. Our expertise ranges from Anne, who brings knowledge of technology and strategy, Brandon, who uses his background in design methodology to elevate the user experience, and myself, I bring background in health behavior and policy to ensure that our product is grounded in human realities. So today, our ask for you is pretty simple and straightforward. We are looking for software engineers who can help us bring our tool to the next level. Also, if you're connected in the health space, we want to talk to you. Whether it's insurance or health systems, whatever your background might be, please ensure to connect with us. Because we really want to leverage the power of our multidisciplinary team to build a tool that is both affordable and accessible to all. So people like Andrea have everything they need today to better manage the difficulties of tomorrow. Thank you.
So is this a legal document at the end?
Yeah, so our minimum viable product does not produce a actual document that is legally binding, and the requirements differ on the state. So, for example, in Michigan, an advance directive is not a legally binding document, but what Michigan recognizes as legally binding is identifying a medical proxy. So, what we're working towards is building that legal document so that people can use that. So, ultimately, the answer will be yes. Right now, if we were to use it, we would be able to produce documentation that the user could then ensure is legally binding. Yes, great. My team.
Hi, everybody.
Back here.
Sorry. Given the age and state of your target audience for make communities, what have you got planned to overcome accessibility challenges like low vision, low hearing, muscle impairment?
Yeah, so we're still working on that for sure. One of the partnership we're developing is actually with a cancer center. So our first target audience actually probably won't be an elderly population. It will likely be people who are either middle-aged or younger who have been recently diagnosed with cancer. But we are actively looking at ways to kind of ensure that text is large and readable and that we've kind of adapted to the system. It's a web application right now so that it can be accessed on any device. So no matter the smartphone or the computer, you can bring it up on the web. Sorry.
Thomas? So why are you targeting the health system? So is it because you're trying to go for the social worker network, or is it post-insurance systems?
Yeah, it's a great question. So first is ideally we would want everyone to use this, right? But there are only certain demographics that are really focused on advanced care planning. And we've identified those as folks who have chronic illnesses and therefore comorbidities, folks who are advancing in age and their doctor's like, hey, you just turned 65. You might want to start thinking about this, as well as folks who have a recent terminal diagnosis. And so all of those people, the greatest common denominator is the health system. So we'll be able to address a wider number of people at once. However, as we're doing that, we're looking for other customers that make sense. So insurance is definitely one that makes sense for us. Even things like third-party benefits administrators that are administering benefits like for employers are also people that we're interested in pursuing. But for right now, the health system is what is the best fit.
And immediately, I think the reason for that is there are quality metrics that are set by the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, as well as in the state of Michigan, that require advanced care planning as one of the quality metrics hospitals have to achieve in order to receive some reimbursement. And so there are financial incentives in the short term to kind of help us with our first go-to-market strategy.
How do you deal with security issues? How do you know it's the right person actually making the choice?
Yeah, so our application right now actually records video, so we can use that to help verify both your identity and capacity. So if there's a question of authenticity, we kind of allow people to record themselves, which gives us kind of a way to authenticate that you actually said what you said. The other kind of like underlying security, we're contracting that out. So Google actually hosts we built on top of Firebase, which allows us to kind of make sure data is secure in general.
And what we're working towards is syncing with the electronic medical records, so that provides another layer of being able to, I don't know, I'm not the tech person, so I don't know how it works, but ensuring that the information matches with the actual medical record of that patient. I'm sure there's some techie thing back there that ensures the syncing is correct.
Yeah.
Time for one more question.
What's next for Canopy?
Thank you,
Right now, we're applying to different accelerators, and so we're waiting to hear back from them, and then also doing a pilot this summer as well, and then hoping to potentially raise a seed round starting fall into winter.
Yeah. Thank you all.
I was just going to say that these 5 teams you heard today, if you want to hear more, you can hear more at Pizza House, which we'll head over to after. You can also hear more tomorrow at our open house. I know I made this plug before, but I know some new people came in. So we're having an open house at TechArb. That's down on Liberty Street. It's from 4 to 6. You can register by going to bit.ly TechArb W18 open house. And if you can't make it there, you can catch them again at Demo Day. That's our big show, the big finale. That's on Thursday, April 26th from 4 to 7. Doors open at 4. The event begins at 4:30. And you'll hear from these 5 teams, and you'll also see 3 others in our current cohort as well. If you're interested in learning more about them or connecting with them, you can grab a one-pager we have up here. I've also brought one-pagers of our past 4 cohorts as well, if you want to see some of the teams we've worked with in the past few years. Thanks.
Thank you, Ryan. So we're going to move to community announcements now. So if there's anyone who is hiring or looking for a job or has a community event that you think people should know about, call to action. We'll line up on this side of the room, and whoever gets up here first gets to go first. I'm actually I just want to say, I've been coming to New Tech for almost 2.5 years now, and these pitches were so phenomenal. You guys really just did a fantastic job. So thank you. Into what you presented to us tonight. So thank you for educating us on what you're doing. I'm going to start with my announcement first. So I mentioned I'm the founder of Engage. Engage is centrally located in Ann Arbor for now. And we are the central hub for authentic connections to people, organizations, and place. And our foundational programming around that is something called the Connector Program, which some of you heard me mention at the beginning. But we help people who are new to the area establish a network, and for those who have been here for a while, to diversify and expand their network. And something that we run almost weekly is something called Community Coffee. And this week, Thursday morning at Literati Coffee, Kai Stable, who was a trailing partner of a woman who moved here for a job in tech, at Nutshell. Kai was the consultant to the UN for conflict resolution. And he's now my lead facilitator and is going to be hosting a kind of mini diversity workshop on Thursday morning around the changing workplace. The title is From Homo to Hetero, and it's not conversion therapy. So talking about how to have those conversations well and to really make our workplaces really phenomenal. So I'm really excited to have him and would love to have you all there. EngageAffect.com and our Twitter handle, you can kind of find out and follow what's happening with Engage and what we're doing. We've got a few connectors in this room, Michael Bloom in the back, Cam, Ryan. Is there anybody else that's a connector? So anyway, really glad to be here tonight. So we'll move it over to Michael. What was the website again? Good. Sorry? What was the website? The easiest one is a2engage.com. Go for it.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Michael Melfi. I am a partner at Bodman Law Firm, and I'm out here talking about legal. I'm here to share with you about an event that I actually host. It's put on by Kaiva Innovations. It happens every month, and it just so happens our next one is tomorrow night at Ann Arbor Spark. There'll be food, drink, and beverage, and the idea, it's called the Pitch Club. So we travel around the state. We've been doing it for 7 months now, and we go all around the state of Michigan, providing an opportunity for people to come together and collaborate and really promote early stage investing for companies that are looking for $100,000 to $500,000. So if you do come out tomorrow night, what you're going to see is 3 companies that were picked that are finalists out of about 30 that we get every month. We pick 3 and they go up on stage and they get to present. We usually have a celebrity panel of judges. We have some very good judges for this month. I'm excited about. I see a couple of our judges in the crowd as well. We also have a keynote. Hannah List will be there talking. So he'll be giving a pretty good and interesting conversation as well. Again, I invite you out, love to have you out. We do them every month. They do travel around. The same thing I say to, starts at 5 o'clock from 5 to 7. And I always tell everyone, everywhere we go around the state, we invite everyone to go to different cities to really connect the ecosystem. We started this to connect the ecosystem together and also to raise awareness about getting capital raised. On a side note, as one more plug, we are raising a fund right now because we're going to start actually funding all the companies that are going through the actual Pitch Club nights. So that's new. I know, Ryan, that's new. So we are looking to actually start investing money into these companies on a regular basis. So thank you for your time and look forward to seeing some of you guys
If we
tomorrow night.
can't make the one tomorrow,
Tomorrow
how do
night.
we keep track of when I hire you?
Thanks for asking. pitchclubmi.com. If you want to apply, you can apply there. If you want to sign up for future events, all of our future events for most of the rest of the year should be there as well. Thank you.
All right, we got a few announcements. We do try to get out of here by 8, so let's try to keep them concise.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily.
My name is Gianluca.
We are the student attorneys here at the law school, and we're at the Transactional Law Lab,
And the Entrepreneurship Clinic.
and we're just here to let you know that the law school are providing free legal services to companies at various stages for those that can't access legal services otherwise.
Yeah, basically businesses that, especially at the early stages, cannot afford legal advice. We counsel over all sort of issues that come up at the beginning and throughout various stages, trademark issues, IP protection, business formation and choices of entity and things like that.
Yeah, so I guess just reach out to us if you have any legal help. If you need any legal help, I'm going to hang around for a bit if you want to talk to me. I have some templates I'm going to put at the table over there if you wanted to grab some. Yeah, you don't have to talk to us like now, but in the future, we just want to let you keep in mind that this is a resource that you can turn to if you have any future needs.
Yeah, you can go online, you can look us up on our website, and you can apply there.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, I run a few events here in Ann Arbor, most of them on Meetup, and I'm going to go fast because there's a decent amount of them. So if you've been to an A2 Brewtech event before, they haven't happened for a few months. I tend to organize them, but all my friends decided to get married these past few months. How dare they? So the events will come back. Sorry?
They give you that time.
Yes, they did actually. This is from the web. So there will be an A2 Brewtech, but probably not this month. Look for an A2 Brewtech next month. If you liked what you saw today and you want to build your own startup, you might wonder, how do I learn how to code? Well, we have an event in town on Meetup called Ann Arbor Coffee House Coders. Our next meetup's next Wednesday. Come by and say hey. And then every Friday at 4:30, we have Beer 30 at the Tech Brewery. Tech Brewery is a co-working space for startups. So if you need to build out your workspace, if you have some desks that you want to be able to rent out and build your team, come check out the Tech Brewery. That's techbrewery.org. And I'll put all these in the comments as well. So if you can't remember now, you'll find it in the comments. So thanks.
Hey, I'm Ife.
I'm Thomas.
So we're a team of CU. We're here to promote our app, CU. So CU is a platform for people, whoever you want to do anything, just connect people together, do whatever you like. So the platform, why it's so important is within 1 mile, within 1 hour, you can connect with any people in our app to do anything you want. So right now, we're looking for beta users. If you are interested, come say hi, and then we'll share the link with you, and you can contribute to our app.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Diane. Also an engagement actor.
Yay. Hello, I'm Diane. I am the co-founder of Ann Arbor Health Hacks. We are a nonprofit that runs multi-community events in the run-up to our annual healthcare hackathon. The hackathon this year is at the end of June, June 22 to 24, and our next community event is on the 26th. That's next week, Thursday. And we're going to be it's going to be at MIHQ, which is an incubator accelerator just outside of downtown Ann Arbor. And we're going to be talking about how to convert your idea into a startup. So, you know, all within the thought of starting businesses, getting your team together, and forming new startups. That's why we do healthcare hackathons. End of June, and next week, Thursday on the 26th, come talk to me. I'll also go to Pizza House.
Awesome. Thank you, Diane. Diane from Michigan Makers.
She just gave it. Oh. Hello, everybody. I know a lot of you in the crowd have probably seen me before. But
what's your name anyway?
Yes. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Leon Abad. I'm a producer, the producer of the Michigan Makers podcast. It's Michigan Makers, and it's essentially where I interview Michigan's top entrepreneurs, investors, makers, movers, and shakers. And we actually have a guest that recently came on today, Daron, right there. You don't have to stand up, but everybody give him a hand. So before I head off, last week's was super cool. It was, for those of you who know, Jason Mendelson from the Foundry Group. He's a 2-time UMich grad. Big Time DC in Boulder helped, build the Boulder startup community, build Boulder in Denver, and that has gotten a lot of attention. So feel free to check that out. It's Wednesdays every 9 a.m. around there, depending on when I actually edit it. But yeah, again, Michigan Makers on every single app besides Spotify, because they're being very stiff about it. But thank you.
Thanks, Leanne.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Kerry Williams. I'm the Director of Government Guaranteed Lending at Capital National Bank out of Lansing. We are a $120 million asset bank with 2 offices in the Lansing area. I just joined Capital National. My territory is the entire state of Michigan, and I wanted to attend tonight and meet all of you because there is a common misconception that bank financing is not available to startup entrepreneurs. And I have 15 years of small business lending experience. I have provided over $1.2 billion in financing, of which about 20% of that was to startup ventures. And Capital National Bank is growing in the state of Michigan. And I'll be at the pizza parlor after we leave here if you have any questions for me.
Okay, thank you, everybody. This was fun, right?
Yeah.
Good job. I'm really humbled to be up here. So, in conclusion, the next A2 New Tech is Tuesday, May 15th, always the second Tuesday of the month. We have a full roster for May, including the startups, and I hope I'm saying them right. Sealant or Celent Innovations, Seeker, Fluent, Sagan Works, and Disco. Disco clarifies their patient app to prompt cancer treatment cost discussions. We should be back in our South Hall location in room 1225. Again, you can find us on maidena2.com/Slack and maidena2.com. If you have any questions about A2 New Tech, you can contact the organizers at a2newtech.org. Especially if you have a pitch, a company that you think should pitch in June. So we're taking, looking for companies for June. And we will see you at Pizza House. We'll be upstairs to the right in the maize and blue room. And it's at 618 Church Street. There you go.
Do you need a head count?
Okay, but I would like to see a show of hands. How many people are heading over to Pizza House? So see, it's going to be so much fun. All right, see you there.